This story must have occurred 40, 50 years ago. A bunch of women, a group of women, they used to go every Shabbat. This is in America, I understand. They used to go every Shabbat, every Friday, I'm sorry, every Friday, Erev Shabbat. And they would hand out candles to women. I also do the same thing. I go every Friday, stand in this big marketplace, see, and I give out these boxes, and they have little candles in them with a blessing on them. There, see, here we go. Candles. You see? Does it look like a candle? Does it look like a candle? Here we go. 1 second. Here. Oh, see? Give these little candles to women. In a nice little box with a blessing on it upside down. Yes. Lights of Shabbos. I'm sorry, I'm trying to put it in front of, there we go. See the lights of Shabbos. I'm sorry, this is right. Wrong side. I put it in, I give it to other ones. Okay, so these women went around and they would go to like marketplaces and what is it called? Shopping centers. And they would give out candles to women. Of course, first of all, they would ask women, are you Jewish? This is not Israel. You go, are you Jewish? You go, they went around and asked women if they're Jewish. So there were a group of women that were sitting around the table. And this lady, the leader of the whole group, there was like 5 women. They came in a car. The leader of the group was a woman called Mrs. Bernstein. She was very, very, how do you say, very, a very responsible woman. She was very, very exact. A time is time. Your watch is your watch. So they would go for, let's say, exactly 1 hour. And then they had to be back at the car. It was also the right before Shabbat. So they had to go back to the car. And they had to be back, let's say, the car at 3 o'clock. Right? Shabbat came in at 6. They had to be there. So she's in this big shopping center. And she sees a bunch of women sitting together. And they're sitting together with a young man. Obviously not a Jewish young man. His eyes, blue-eyed, blonde hair, doesn't look Jewish. And the woman could be, maybe they're Jewish. It could be, doesn't. So she asked the woman, excuse me, are you Jewish? Are you Jewish? So the women said, yes, they are. And she told them a little bit about Judaism and about, do you like Shabbat candles? They didn't. And so she gave them candles and she said nice words to them. And she went one to the other. And what about you, ma'am? Are you Jewish? Yes, I'm Jewish. And she gave them the candles, and that's when it was close to 3 o'clock, and she went. As she was going back to the car, she thought, I didn't ask that young man if he's Jewish or not. Said, but he didn't look Jewish at all. And not only the time is coming close, Oh, Shalom, Steve Lack. Well, you're coming to the end. We start the classes at 8 o'clock, and class is almost over. So, but for your sake, we'll start the story again. A woman went with a group of women, Chabad women. They went to do Mivtzoim. They went to hand out Shabbos candles in a big shopping center. And this one woman that was the head of the group, her name was Mrs. Bornstein. She was a very, very responsible woman, and everything was very exact. And it was getting close to the time they had to go back to the car. And she saw like a bunch of women sitting around a table and talking. She got closer. She saw they were sitting together. There was a young man sitting there, and he obviously was not Jewish. He had blonde hair, blue eyes, and the other women, it's a question. So she went and asked them, are you Jewish? So one of them said, yes, I am. And she started telling them about Shabbos candles and giving, these boxes of Shabbos candles. And she said, what about the lady next to her? Are you Jewish? She said, well, yes, I am. A third lady, she said, no, I'm not Jewish. I am Jewish. And so she gave out the candles, and then she had to run back to her car. Suddenly she thought, as she was going back, I didn't ask the young man if he's Jewish. And she said, but there's no reason to ask him. I mean, he's obviously not Jewish. He doesn't look Jewish at all. And not only that, I'm late to go back to the car. But she said, but nevertheless, it won't hurt to ask him. So she went back to him and said, excuse me. He said, yes. He said, are you Jewish? And he started to cry. So she said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean anything wrong. Maybe his family was, who knows, maybe they were Nazis or something. Maybe, they did bad to the Jews. She said, I'm sorry, I didn't. So he said, I'm Jewish. And I want to tell you something. What you just did to me now. Said, I was born, my mother got married to a non-Jewish man, and they had me. And in the beginning, when they got married, they're like in university or whatever. For some reason, my mother, who was totally not religious, she wanted that I should have a Jewish education. and an Orthodox Jewish education. And so my father, he didn't care one way or the other. He didn't care. They got married. They were just, open souls. So they put me in a yeshiva, in a school, and where all the kids were Jewish, first grade, second grade, third grade. And sometimes kids can be very cruel. And I looked different than all the other kids. I had blue or blonde eyes. But nevertheless, I put on a kippah like everybody else, tzitzis. I grew payos. And when I would come home, so it was like a big, culture shock every day. I would come home to my parents, and my parents were totally not religious. They didn't keep Shabbos, whatever. And here I was, and the kids were making fun of me. But nevertheless, I got along. I got along with the kids. Then my parents, they moved. They moved to another place. And now I was already, I was already 10 years old. And when I went to school, then it was a big, nobody else was Jewish over there. So, I realized, if I really wanted to fit in, I had to take off these tzitzis and the kippah and and so I acted like everybody else, and I fit in with everybody. I looked like everybody else. I fit in with everybody else. But I knew inside of me that I'm Jewish. And so there was always this big conflict going on inside of me. And I grew up as a non-Jew. I looked like a non-Jew. I acted like a non-Jew. All my friends were non-Jews. But I always sort of gravitated to the Jewish people, but I wasn't really accepted by them 100% because I didn't really look Jewish. I mean, they treated me nicely and everything like that and everything. So, but the non-religious Jews, they accepted me very well. But as a non-Jew, that's what everybody thought, that I was a non-Jew. And when you came and you asked all the women if they're Jewish and you skipped me, so I said to myself, that's it. That's it. That's the last straw. If she doesn't ask me if I'm Jewish, then I'm leaving the whole entire business. I look like a non-Jew. I can act like a non-Jew. I'm a non-Jew. That's it. When you came back and you asked me if I am a Jew or not, then that opened up all of the conflicts and the difficulties that I've had my whole entire life, all the traumas and all of this. And suddenly now I'm proud to announce in front of everybody, yes, I'm a Jew. I'm a Jew. I'm accepted as a Jew. And that person, eventually he became, an observant Jew, etc. So we see the importance of asking. Doesn't hurt to do, even against our nature. It's against our nature, against the time. And she came back to the car. She was very late because of this, which is unlike her. And she told everybody the story. So eventually, every Jew, no matter where he is, no matter how they are, how he, she, will all come back to the true realization that we're Jewish people and that we are public servants to improve the entire world. Have a good month, everyone. This is the month of Adar. And when Adar comes in, you have to increase in happiness, whether you want to or not. You have to increase in happiness. And the way to increase in happiness is to think how lucky we are, how rich we are, that God is creating us and he's giving us life and he's giving us responsibility and opportunity every instant brand new. And whatever happened in the past will be dwarfed by the amazing riches and gifts that God gives to us every single instant. So be happy. God willing, we'll see everybody 8:00 Sunday. Have a good Shabbos, everyone. Shalom uvracha. Shalom. Thank you for coming.